Hello, radicals and returners. My name is Stevie Skyen, and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV, which I haven't played in so long that the game gave me a special welcome back intro screen saying, everything's changed in Eorzea since you've been away. Would you like a small experience bonus for some low-level jobs that you have? And I'm like, nah, yeah, I'm good. I am all right without that. Thank you very much, game. I haven't been away for that long. It's been like a month. Leave me alone. But since we are back in Eorzea, and I see the carnival has showed up already, I just figure out what to do, and basically I think what I want to do is I want to go see my boy. I want to go see my boy Hildibrand, because he's apparently around, and I haven't seen him in ages, and I think he's supposed to be down in the market, someone told me, so let's go that way. Because we've done all the serious story content, Estinia's taken a shower, the world is saved, the Pope is dead, and so on, and killed a dragon, or whatever. Who cares? But it means now we can go see our boy. We can go see our man. Oh, that looks like something. A gentleman falls rather than flies. Excellent. That looks about right to me. Now to remember what voices I even gave these characters. Oh, that's Nashu. Hey, girl. How you doing? You're looking different in that silly outfit. Where's your real clothes? As you catch sight of Nashu, you cannot help but wonder if you're about to have a bad time.
Well, I'll be Brick Olpham in the flesh. A pleasure to see you again. Wait, is this what they call serendipity? It is, isn't it? That settles it. You've got to help me find the inspector. Cool, I was hoping you'd silently agree.
Yeah, just abuse the fact that I can't talk, will ya? Ugh.
So, I've been trying to calculate the trajectory the inspector took when he was catapulted into the sky again. I've triple-checked my figures and concluded he must have landed somewhere here in Ishgard. Unfortunately, the investigation hasn't been proceeding as smoothly as I'd hoped. But now that you're here, we're sure to make some progress. Come, let us speak with the merchants and see if anyone hasn't had dealings with a gentlemanly Highlander.
Hey, have you seen a fucking idiot recently?
A gentlemanly Highlander, you say? My apologies, but I cannot say I've had dealings with a man that you describe. Good evening to you, sir. You're looking for someone? A gentlemanly Highlander. I know not this man of whom you speak, but mayhap Mistress Elise does. She's well acquainted with rather a lot of merchants and noblemen.
Oh, thank you for that subscription. Shishkovsky? Chichoy? I don't know how to pronounce that, but thank you. I gave it my best shot.
I've sold my fair share of goods to Highlander adventurers, but I'd not describe such clients as particularly gentlemanly, I'm afraid. As ever, a warm welcome to you, sir. How may I be of assistance? A gentlemanly Highlander, you say? Now that I think of it, I have heard tell of a foreigner who may be the man whom you seek. Packing your pardons, miss, but did you say you know Inspector Hildibrand? An acquaintance of yours, I presume? I do not know his name, only that he's here by invitation of Lord Edmund. Or so it's rumored. Surely, as a ward of House Fortom, it would be a trifling matter to go and ask after him at the manor. Oh, cool! I knew it was serendipity! To Fortom Manor!
Always polite. As a gentlewoman should be.
Well met, Master Wolfham. Do you require assistance? Aye, it is as you say. At this time, Lord Edmund is entertaining a foreign guest.
Huzzah! We found the inspector!
If I'm not mistaken, their meeting should be ending shortly. If you like, you may retire to the gazebo and wait for our guest to depart.
A gazebo? Aren't those dangerous? Then again, you seem a responsible sort, not like to let a wild gazebo run amok.
Is that a fucking... That cannot be a reference to the gazebo green post. That cannot be a reference to the gazebo green text. Oh my fucking god, it is. These fucking nerds. Okay, right, yeah. The fucking gazebo green text. For fuck's sake.
Very well, we humbly accept your offer. And if it wakes up, I'll have you there to protect me. With what powerful magics did they chain this dread fiend?
For fuck's sake. A fucking gazebo green text. Of all the things. I must admit to not being familiar with it. That's okay, Mail, because it's fucking ancient. It's a really, I think it came from 4chan originally. And it's really ancient. So, the gazebo green text basically is a story someone tells about as a session they had in D&D, where their DM says, over the hill you spot a gazebo in the distance, and the fighter goes, I shoot at it. And the DM goes, no, it's a gazebo. Yeah, I shoot at it. Okay. And he lets him shoot at it and he hits it and it's like, how much damage do you do? Well, you don't do any damage. What? Really? It's like, and the fighter keeps trying to attack this thing, the gazebo, because they think it's a monster. Because they don't know. It's... Yeah. That's the green text. I think it's from 4chan originally, but it's been all over the internet. It's one of those things that used to get spread around a lot, like by the old memes before. Like, it's the sort of thing you used to see on icanhashcheeseburger.com. Like, that's where the screenshots for that shit got posted. That's how old it is. Yeah, the fighter tries to run and the DM goes, too late, you angered the dread gazebo. Because, like, the DM is kind of punishing the fighter for not understanding that it's a gazebo. It's the thing.
That must be Inspector Hildibrand.
I cannot well imagine how arduous your journey must have been.
Okay, so I don't know who that is, so I don't know what voice to give them. Truth be told, I've found the brisk Caerthon air to be rather invigorating. It stimulates body and mind both. A welcome benefit when one must discuss matters of commerce. I dare say we would not have accomplished as much otherwise. But I bet it's not Hildibrand.
There you are, Inspector. I've been looking all over for you.
Aha! It's Godbert.
Say, who do I see before me? Not one, but two of my beloved son's faithful companions.
Lord Godbert? But I thought...
Well, it is a Manderville. It is a Manderville. And as chat points out, at least he's wearing clothes this time. I figured it couldn't be Godbert because he was dressed.
Hildy? In Ishgard? Well, this is the first I've heard of it.
Aha! I found you at last, heretic. Is that gonna be him? No, it's just one of the priests. Okay.
Yes, you, the hulking brute with a mad gleam in his eye. Your brazen heresy is plain for all to see. Surrender yourself to the Inquisition at once.
I beg your pardon. This man is an Uldan merchant here at the behest of House Fortan. Such baseless accusations will not be tolerated.
A guest of House Fortan? Well, then he couldn't possibly. Though there were those two wards that, but they were acquitted of.
Godbert, what are you doing? God, why are you not wearing pants under that? Oh my god.
But they were acquitted of all charges in a trial by combat, and if he demands the right to, then I would personally have to. Oh dear. 1,000 apologies, good sir. I spoke out of turn. I'm Seer, and as you may have guessed, I'm an inquisitor who's been charged with investigating reports of a rather suspicious, possibly heretical individual.
A heretic, you say? One who bears a passing resemblance to me?
Aye, a man, rather muscular, wearing dark garments, acquitting himself in a somewhat gentlemanly fashion, as some might say.
Oh no.
This heretic sounds like the spitting image of Inspector Hildibrand. Could he be a fan? Say again, you're acquainted with such a man? I see. And the man you're looking for is Lord Godbert's son. It would seem that our investigations may be connected. So, I put to you a proposal. The first reported sightings of the heretic I'm tracking came from Falcon's Nest. Mayhap we should journey there together? It is, after all, possible we're seeking the self-same individual. If so, and if he is innocent, it would be for the best if you were present when I apprehend him, that we might resolve this matter without incident. I say we go with him, Rick. This looks to be our best lead yet.
Then I shall accompany you all. It has been far too long since I laid eyes on my beloved son, and if there's a chance we might be reunited, I should be glad to seize it. And him, I'm sure.
And then it is settled. We shall leave for Falcon's Nest at once.
I was hoping, man, I was hoping Godbert would, like, suplex him or something. Notice how you didn't bow. Yeah, because, like, I'm the savior of the fucking world over here. Edmund is also your de facto dad. That's true. Master Ulfam, are these your traveling companions? Oh, there he is. Oh, he took off the coat. Okay, yeah, no, yeah. I mean, he would take off the coat, wouldn't he? A mysterious, muscular vagabond. Ah, yes, patrol sighted him lurking near the dusk vigil. Thinking he might be a lost traveler, they called out to him, but rather than approach, he fled. Quite frankly, I'm surprised you bothered to come all this way. That sighting barely warranted a mention in my report.
Aha! The unmistakable scent of heresy! Oh, terribly sorry. Old habit I picked up from my mentor. I know. I will not rush to judgment as before. Still, much as I hope you find your missing inspector, I must confess some small desire that we instead unearth a lingering pocket of heresy! Of late, there's been virtually no confirmed instances of heretical misdeeds. It's gotten so bad that some are speculating our funding may be reduced, or worse, that the Inquisition's operations might come under review. That is why, alone as my witness, I will find and bring a heretic to justice and prove that our order still has value in these uncertain times. No, yeah, come with us to the wilderness. Just come with us to the wilderness. Just go in front of us, and don't worry if you hear me pull my weapon. It's probably to fight a monster. It's okay, cool, don't worry about it. Yes, I understand why you have your reasons, but whether or not this vagabond was a heretic remains to be seen. Still, if you are set upon your course, you might begin your search near the dusk vigil. An excellent suggestion, Sir Redwald. Should we succeed in our endeavor, rest assured that you will share in the glory.
Please watch the voice for Seer. He's the preordained of this installment. Yeah. No worries. I've got it under control, I think. Thank you for subscribing, Biteshift.
The hunt continues. Onward to the dusk vigil. I'm told that region is especially cold, so do not forget to dress appropriately for the weather.
What do you mean? He's wearing furry boots. Godbert is fine. He's gonna show up naked, isn't he? Alice, thank you for resubscribing. I said it before, but like the maps in Heavensward and like in around Ishgard are just so much nicer to traverse and look at than the ones in Realm Reborn. Like, they're just better designed as environments.
Alice Nui Winther gifted a tier 1 sub to Idol and Fox. They have given 61 gift subs in the channel.
Thank you very much, Alice. That's very kind of you. Yeah, I know. Like, it's because Realm Reborn was not designed with flight in mind. Also because Realm Reborn was designed back when it was still PS3 shit. Like, you could see the advancement in how much they were able to squeeze out of the engine that they're working with. But it's also just things like look at this. And I think that probably, I think Chad is probably right about that too. Like, that a lot of it comes down also to just that they're able to design vistas that are meant to be seen from the sky. Whereas everything in Realm Reborn had to be designed to be seen from this perspective, right? Like, it has to look good from here. Whereas... And that's something actually, that's something that World of Warcraft players will know something about, because like in World of Warcraft, they added flight to zones that really weren't designed for it, and players just started finding all these like essentially out of bounds areas, and like areas that just where clearly nothing was designed because you were never meant to be able to see over the edge there. And on that front, I think Realm Reborn has actually done a lot better than World of Warcraft in just like keeping its vistas clean. And like nothing looks terrible when you fly through it in Realm Reborn. Like there's nothing that looks blatantly unfinished. Ooh, that's a cool bird. There's nothing that looks blatantly unfinished. I see the gentlemanly outfits are coming out. Aw, they do look good on you though. This land is a beauty all its own, don't you think? Pity my dear wife isn't here too, and you have less clothes on. Why do you have less clothes on? Did you actively take clothes off? Oh my god.
I trust you managing. Good. It will be a shame if we had to turn back now. Look, it's frozen. Wait, does that mean the fish are frozen too? Fury, take me, it's freezing. Oh, this is a waste of time. No living thing could survive this god's forsaken wasteland.
No, but a sufficiently dumb person might.
Oh, there, look! Someone's coming from the vigil. Inspector, is that you?
Nope, but someone with a sword anyway. Oh, he's doing it again. Oh, it's one of the old zombies.
As I live and breathe, of all the places to be reunited with Master Zombiebrand's compatriots, how fare you all this fine morning?
Hark! A heretic raised from the dead by his brothers, unholy magics! He's not a heretic, he's one of the gentle dead men. What brings you so far from Uldagot, sir?
Well, as you know, ours is a rather lonely existence, so when we heard rumors of an abandoned fortress held by zombies, we were delighted. I was chosen to serve as emissary and set out immediately. Alas, it seems my efforts were for naught. Ah, truly, every last one dead. That is to say, irrevocably dead. If it was necessary, then so be it. Still, after coming all this way is more than a little disappointing, you understand.
Then, my calculations were wrong? The inspector didn't land in Kirthus?
Now, do not fret so. If it is our overlord you seek, then you are in luck. As the founder of the Gentle Dead Men, our faith and our ether are inextricably entwined. In fact, I can feel it calling to me now.
Truly, good sir? You can guide us to Inspector Hildibrand?
As surely as my rotting nose can lead me to fresh brains. Follow me, my friends.
Poor seer. It's like...
One must remain vigilant for heresy, for it can manifest in myriad ways. 'Tis a vile, insidious sickness, which must needs be burned out ere the infection takes hold. Surely, zombification would qualify, yes? Confound it, they've left us behind!
Oh, don't get frustrated yet, Zier. It's gonna get worse.
Who do they think they are, commandeering this investigation and employing a zombie as a bloodhound? It beggars belief. We must regain control of the situation. With me, Brick!
You can try. Yeah, regain control, sure. Over any situation involving Hildibrand. Sure. Godbert Mandeville is right there, but let's regain control over the situation. Sure.
Simply basking in this magnificent scenery fills me with inspiration.
Inspector! Inspector! Sickness won't fester and spread, yes? This want to fester and spread, yes? Is it truly safe to consort with this man?
All the moment, my friends. I must needs concentrate. Master Zombiebrand is indeed nearby, but there's also something else. Mayhap the powerful magic confounding my senses. I can guide you no further. We must needs split up and search the area.
Now see here, these wastes are infested with wild beasts and you would have us split up? Brick can handle himself true, and clearly you've no reason to fear death, but where is Mr. Snottshoe?
I take your meaning. My good zombie, Brick, pray see to the lady's protection. Inquisitor Zur, would you like to take the lead?
Come you two, the inspector's up there somewhere. Whee!
I do adore the little detail that, like, they add a little sound that plays when you fly really close to, like, a rock face. Zoo. It's such a little thing, because, like, the natural thing, obviously, to do with but it doesn't be to fly above it all, but it's nice.
Ah, those sculpted legs clad in gentlemanly trousers. I know them.
Look, Brick, that's got to be in the inspector.
No, yeah.
And he's surrounded by giant, fluffy, man-shaped gazebos.
Nay, my lady, they are not mere gazebos. Note their regal bearing. They are gentlemen gazebos. Fearsome, yet fastidious foes, who would surely tear me rotting limb from rotting limb. Only Brick can save Master Zombiebrand now.
They keep going with the gazebo thing, I see. How long has he been here? You can kind of see the Warrior of Light going like, here we go again.
Inspector! Inspector, can you hear me? We've been looking all over for you. Oh, this just won't do. We've got to get you out of there before you catch cold.
Honestly, Nashu, maybe a little late. I don't think that's gonna...
Up and at him! Everyone's waiting for you!
Forgive me. If I pull any harder, my arms are likely to tear.
Ah, there you are. We heard shouting. Have you perchance found something? Fury take me! Is that my heretic? Oh, confound it, I wanted him alive. Inspector Hildibrand's definitely not a heretic, and he's probably not dead either. He's just hibernating like last time.
Hildy ever was a late riser. Fear not, my wife and I had our ways of waking him.
Godbird, what are you gonna do?
Hildibrand, held it on maximally extra. Get right up! Right this this instant!
Just the other guy's backing away. It's so good. Hey, I see that. Wait, isn't this chick gonna slam him straight back down into the ground? No, but like the comedic timing of like Zier looking back. Yeah. Of Zier looking back and seeing everyone else backing away.
Was it the Mandeville Meteor Strike or the Mandeville Meteor Drive? Ah, maybe Julian's right. Trying to name everything only leads to needless confusion. One more time, then. Out you go!
Is that a black mage puppet? What? I thought it was Vivi for a second.
Splendidly snowplex, Lord Godbird.
Where am I? The snowy wastelands of Carthage? And who are these people I see before me?
Ah, but of course, who else would venture into inhospitable climes and wake me from my sweet slumber but my beloved fans?
Why do I feel as though I've stepped into a portal, through a portal into an alternate reality unbound by the laws of logic?
The Warrior of Light, like, yeah, you get used to it.
What is that, a mammoth? Where did it come from?
Oh, that! When my father drove me into the earth, I found it buried beneath the snow.
A little Athelian girl.
Lalafellin. Oh,
A little Lalafellin girl. How adorable.
Marshal, please. Now to the firm muscular legs, not unlike my own, 'tis clearly a Lalafellin boy.
Now that you mention it, I suppose his features are rather masculine. You two cannot possibly be serious.
I am the very soul of seriousness, good sir, especially in matters of deduction. This is undoubtedly a young boy who, much like myself, fell into a deep slumber upon being buried beneath the snow. Now then, let us gently wake him and ascertain his identity.
There, that ought to do it.
That was... Did you... They're not... Are they intentionally referencing Vivi? Because that's Vivi's costume. And that was Vivi's little adjusting his hat movement. You're not... If you bring Vivi into this, I'm gonna cry. I am very fond of my boy. But what is this place? Who am I?
God's sake. Just imagine this man going around giving those faces to people.
I remember nothing. Surely there's a perfectly logical explanation for all of this.
But the Hildibrand is alive and full of beans. It is a miracle. It is not an all creation that cannot be repaired with a little tender love and care.
Inspector Hildibrand's back, and he brought a friend.
It was seen that although Father's ungentle ministration served to restore this young boy to life, they also robbed him of his memory.
How did I get here? Who am I? Why can I not remember?
Do not worry, young man. Everything will be all right. Take it from me. I've lost my memories more times than I can even remember.
Yes, that would make sense.
Then you can help me to remember.
Hearken to me now, for I, Hildibrand, Agent of Inquiry, Inspector Extraordinaire, do hereby swear to solve the mystery of the amnesic hobbledehoy.
Wonderful, wonderful! I can start another batch of Nash's delights.
As effective as your explosives were in the past, I suspect that young Gigi lacks the hearty constitution required to survive such an approach.
Gigi, is that my name?
When you woke, you were muttering gigi. I suspect the phrase may hold some significance for you, so until such a time as we learn your real name, I say why not adopt it as a playful moniker?
But that's just a sound all Mammets make. What kind of imbecile goes and names a Mammoth Gigi anyway? Gigi, I like this name. Remember? Thank you, kind sir. But how will this new name help me to remember who I am?
Patience, Gigi, this is only the beginning. Next, we will return to the city and see if we cannot find any who know who you are. Come along!
That's okay. They're doing VV. They're doing a VV thing. Like that's. I don't know how much they're gonna do, but that's definitely. You're not even wearing boots anymore, Copper. That's definitely a reference to VV because that was also rather similar to VV's walk cycle. You can't do this to me. You can't at once. You can't at the same time Final Fantasy XIV. You cannot at the same time give me the zaniest dumbass comedy bullshit you've ever seen and reference the sweetest little boy in any Final Fantasy game. You can't do that.
Now that I know our overlord is safe and sound, I too must take my leave of you and return to my brothers. I dare say rigor mortis will set in if I remain here any longer.
Bound for that land, then allow me to accompany you. Julian will give me no end of trouble if I keep him waiting any longer, though perhaps she will forgive me once I tell her of Hilda's return.
This is rather a lot to digest, though you have the look of one accustomed to such happenings. In any case, regardless of Mistress Nashu's protestations, the inspector will not be granted access to the capital until we can confirm he's not a heretic. You have my word that he will be treated fairly.
I mean, good luck. Good luck. You can try. Hey, look, it's the naked shadow man again. What is Vivi? It sort of depends how you want to interpret it, but Vivi is, in Final Fantasy IX, an artificial black mage puppet. A prototype that was created by Kuja as part of his attempts to build a black mage army to do military actions in the world. He was being transported probably on a boat when Q fished him out of the sky, essentially with a fishing rod, as he was trying to catch skyfish. And the Q, sort of realizing he couldn't eat this puppet, because that's the main interaction Q have with most things.
Hello, Skya. Glad to see you back on 14.
Thank you very much, Callous Bunboy. Adopted him instead and sort of became his grandfather and caretaker. And poor Vivi, who didn't really... Vivi also got the name Vivi from his granddad there. And poor Vivi, who sort of didn't really know who he was or what he was, started building an identity for himself outside of his function. And Final Fantasy IX is very much a game about life and death. Like it's about how do you live a fulfilling life and how do you die a good death afterwards. And Vivi's story is deeply, deeply, deeply intertwined with that theme. Like, his story is very much about existentialism. It's very much about, like, what it means to be alive and how you cope with mortality. Because Vivi is a prototype Black Mage doll, most Black Mages die after a few years of function. They just sort of stop functioning and then they're gone. Vivi doesn't know how long he has. He might live for 100 years, he might be immortal for all he knows, or he might die tomorrow. And like, a lot of his story is sort of about him learning to cope with that and what that means for him. And it's a really bittersweet, sad story that, like, phew. That man is also not dressed appropriately for the weather at all, but that shirt does look good. He's one of the better characters in Final Fantasy IX, a game which is full of really good characters. And yes, I have a playthrough of Final Fantasy IX over on the Let's Play channel, if anyone wants to go through the game that way.
Fury, take me that man. Prick! I suppose you've heard the news, then, that Inspector Hildibrand was cleared of all suspicion and judged to be no more than an eccentric curiosity. If you're looking for him, good luck. I wanted to thank him for his cooperation, but as soon as the Channel Knights released him, he and his assistant ran off to gods know where with that mammoth in tow. As for my investigation, in spite of all the twists and turns, I managed to salvage a satisfactory result. As far as the Inquisition is concerned, the suspicious vagabond was not more than a zombie which wandered away from the Dusk Vigil, a sickness which has since been purged. So it would seem that all is right with the world once more. For now, I have no doubt the Inspector will turn up again like a bad gill, and when he does, trouble is sure to follow.
You have no idea. Hey! I do love these sequences. The font is readable, I think, if you stare at it for a little while, but it's definitely not easily readable. Zier must once more enter into a world he does not quite understand. I do like that. I like that Zier is, like, not... Because, like, the old Inspector, whose name I have forgotten once again, the old Inspector was, like, very much of a kind with Hildibrand. Like, he was also, like, an eccentric weirdo in his own way, just like a more... Briardine, yes. Just a more, like, sort of serious-minded, I'm, like, very cool. Like, he's that kind of eccentric. But poor Zier is just, like, kind of an overzealous idiot from the Inquisition. And he thinks he lives in the normal world. Well, you don't anymore, boy.
I pray this day find you well, Brick, or at least better than it finds me. It seems I have no choice but to seek out that Inspector and convince him to surrender up his mammoth to me. 'Twas unearthed under most suspicious circumstances, after all, and who can say what secrets or heresy it might hold? Therefore, the Inquisition would like to conduct a thorough inspection and, if needs must, destroy it. Given his affinity for the contraption, I fear the Inspector may not be amenable to my request. And nevertheless, he must be made to see that it is in the interest of the public safety. Would you be willing to help me persuade him?
Sure, let's give it a shot. Why not? What could happen?
Fury be praised, at least you've seen reason. Let us pray he will as well. I'm given to understand that while the Inspector and his assistant have been wandering all over the city with the mammoth in tow, they often frequent the gazebo near Forton Manor. With any luck, they'll be there now.
I can't help but notice that the GG in the Eorzean font looks a little bit like upside down V's. So it's like VV, and it's like, you can't do this to me. You can't do this with my boy.
Isn't she adorable? To the very pinnacle of the heavens.
Verily we shall scour all creation from the deepest pits of the seven hells to the very pinnacle of the heavens for the answers we seek. Every day shall be filled with grand adventures, the stuff of fairy tale and legends.
Huzzah! Grand adventure in the deepest pits of this heaven hells. Just so. Such is the creed of Hildibrand, agent of inquiry, inspector extraordinaire.
Oh no. What are you teaching our boy?
Well posed, Gigi, well posed. I dare say you have the potential to be an extraordinary inspector someday. Right, that's enough of that. By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Supreme Sacred Tribunal of Halonic Inquisitory Doctrine, I hereby command you to surrender that mammoth of suspected heretical origin into my custody. Why, hello there, Brick. An Inquisitor Sir, the Jester, accusing poor Gigi of being a clockwork heretic, when it's plain to see that he's merely precocious young lad. Oh, there you go again, confusing the poor girl, as if those big, beautiful, boxy eyes aren't the soul of femininity. Nah, sure, please. Were you not witness to the magnificent display of Mandevillian masculinity mere moments ago? That's because you haven't taught her any better. She needs a proper role model to show her what's what.
Let the child pick their own gender. Come on. This mammoth is oiled with gender fluid. Excellent. Okay, Master Ultim Inspector Seer. What is all this commotion? We can hear it from the courtyard. Is that, It's Edmund! Okay.
Oh, Lord Edmund, my sincerest apologies for the disturbance. I'm come to seize this mammoth on behalf of the Inquisition, a fact which I clearly explained to the Inspector before you arrived. At which point they set to bickering about the contraption's gender.
What say you, my lord? Do you think Gigi a boy or a girl?
Just clearly a strapping young lad, no?
Fury take me, not you two. Has the whole world gone mad? Fine. But even supposing this Gigi is a real boy, you cannot deny that the circumstances of his discovery and miraculous resuscitation were most unusual.
Yeah, but you know, when Godbert hits things with his hammer, stuff just happens, dude. Don't worry about it.
He cannot be suffered to roam the city with impunity until the Inquisition has determined he is not a threat.
I beg your pardon. Miraculous resuscitation.
Yeah, no, Godbert hit it with his hammer.
I see. Then, until such time as Gigi recovers his memory, perhaps it would be best if you adopted him as a ward of House Mandeville. I will even stand in as witness here and now, if you wish.
Adopt? Then that would make me Gigi's father?
Doubtless, the Inquisition would think better of taking any action which might threaten the cordial relationship between our two houses.
Yes, of course, I'll do it. I, Hildibrand, Agent of Inquiry, Inspector Extraordinaire, do hereby grant this child the patronage of House Mandeville.
Suddenly, Hildibrand now counts as a DILF, unfortunately. Oh no!
Papa Hildy! The Inspector's finally become a father. It's so beautiful.
Quite. Now that you no longer fear the Inquisition, you're free to show Gigi more of our fair city. Indeed, I strongly encourage you to do so. Mayhap, by grace of the Fury, something will jog his memory.
Thank you, Lord Edmund. I shall not forget this kindness. Come, my faithful assistant, my beloved son. We must away! Oh, hello. I would not presume to question your grand design, but... confound it all! Well, mayhap I cannot detain the mammoth, but I'm still within my rights to observe the blasted thing.
Sometimes a family can be just an inspector, an automaton, an assistant, and a warrior of light, and hero of the star. Yeah. Lord Godbert will be pleased to hear that his son is hale and healthy as ever. Not that I would ever presume to meddle on another father's behalf, and certainly not without consent. I do like that Edmund is just playing along. It's like, yeah, no, he knows what the fucking mandrills are like. He's like, yeah, let's just play along with it.
Oh, how long must I stand around waiting for that mammoth to do something passably heretical? Judging by the size of their estate, they've wealth to rival House Mandeville. Cool, look at all them halberds. I've never seen such a well-armed building before.
Come now, Gigi, surely gazing upon this wondrous work of this guardian architecture stirs something within your soul. This grand manor of House Milton.
Pray do not fill the mammoth's head with such nonsense. That is the supreme sacred tribunal of Hellenic inquisitory doctrine. I should know. I work there. Furthermore, I'm quite certain there's no House Durin Mill Tempsat, and there is a rather ludicrous portmanteau of the 4 higher houses, including that esteemed house which but recently stood witness to your adoption. Well, Gigi, do you remember anything? No, nothing.
I say, rather than parading him before the grandiose, why not give him a taste of something more prosaic? Let us make our way to the holy stables that he may bask in the singular sounds, sights, and smells of Ishgard's famous chocobos. Maybe I should put on my sedan gear for this.
Patience, patience. A watched heretic never sins. Such noble creatures, chocobos. How many halcyonders did I pass in the saddle, racing across windswept plains? So, if I wanted that color, I'd have to eat plums, bell fruits, and pineapples. But how many?
Again, looking at the chocobos is also, that's a thing of... It's a thing that happens in Final Fantasy IX. Is he about to get kidnapped? Because if he's about to get kidnapped, I'm gonna be so upset. Splendid specimens of horse bird flesh, would you not agree? Please don't call them that. In the hands of a skilled jockey, any one of them could take first place at the saucer. Oh, Naylan, thank you very much for resubscribing.
These chocobos are the pride of the Ishgardian cavalry, and any temple knight who dared to exploit them for personal gain would answer to the Fury herself. How about now, Gigi? Do you remember anything about Ishgard? Be sure to sniff the chocobos, it might help. It didn't. You know, it's just because you found him in a Caerthan snowbank, it doesn't mean he hails from Ishgard. Oh, Tara the Red Mage, thank you for subscribing. Which is why we ought to try take him to the markets and expose him to all manner of goods from across the Eorzea. Excellent suggestion, Inquisitor. Wait, am I not complicit in this farce? Oh, Fury, forgive me.
You'll be okay, dude. Just go with it. Don't worry.
I want one! Buy me a chocobo! Please, Father! Father, that strange-looking thing is looking at us!
Staring at us, rather. Sneaky Dude Kid, thank you for subscribing.
Jeep, 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 jeep. That's strange looking.
No, you're not, kiddo. You are adorable and perfect. Oh, sparrows, there's nothing ordinary about Briardine. Briardine is a fucking weirdo. He just plays it more cool.
Receive your orders, detain your heretic, meet your quota. Fury take me, it used to be so simple. Frightening on occasion, I grant you, what with my mentor's little episodes, but simple nonetheless. What if I picked one with my eyes closed and gave it as a name day gift to myself? Oh, I wonder what I'd get me.
These goods would fetch a high price, Nolda.
Why bother? It's no use.
Now, Gigi, you must not give in to despair so easily. Did I not promise you days filled with grand adventures and the eventual discovery of your mislaid memories? Spirits, Gigi, spirits! Of course. Of course. I mean, you can afford to pay for it, right? My word, a vase flung to the ground with reckless abandon. Could this be the opening salvo of an indiscriminate campaign of vandalism?
One waged by your wild gesticulations, perhaps. At least look before you strike a pose. Oh, the gods only know how much that vase cost.
123,504,000 gil at last assessment. 'Twas over 700 years old and graced the homes of a dozen archbishops, 8 counts, 2 lord commanders, and 1 duke.
100 million gil!
Hello. Why have you forsaken? Okay, I do question why, if 100 million gil, why, WHY, did you have it out in the middle of the fucking bazaar? Why is it not behind glass and several locked doors?
Well, would you look at that?
Good boy, Gigi.
It's a miracle. Nay, the divine intervention of the Fury herself. I do that.
Gigi, my boy, oh, that was marvelous. You're a born artisan, just like father.
Papa, Hildy's Papa. Your grandpapa Cuthbert, the man who woke you with a few gentle taps to the noggin. You wouldn't believe what else he can do with that hammer of his. Why, some folks say he wields the very powers of life and death. Once he and the missus come back from their tour of the Western Highlands, I'm sure they'd love to see that trick of yours.
Do not demean this mammoth's power as a mere parlor trick.
We just witnessed a miracle, and I demand you all acknowledge it. This mammoth.
His name is Gigi.
Sir, I say 100 million gil for the mammoth. Nay, 100 million gil and the Duke's priceless vase.
My word, is this what passes for trade in Ishgard? Gigi is my flesh and blood. I will not sell him at any price.
Please, Papa, Hildy, no more. I know you mean well, but we can't deny the truth no longer. I am a mammoth.
Gigi, whatever's gotten into you? You're my son. You are a Mandeville man.
Listen to your papa, Gigi. You're a Mandeville girl through and through. Stop it, both of you. You're not my papa or my mama.
Identity crisis.
Ah, the unmistakable scent of... well, perhaps not heresy exactly. Regardless, that Mehmet's power cannot be allowed to fall into the wrong hands.
What, the power to put vases together? I think maybe you're overestimating it a little bit, Zir.
Oh, children do say the most hurtful things.
Well, it's only to be expected. Gigi is at a rebellious edge, strange as it may sound. I, too, tested my parents' patience, and that on more than one occasion. But if they could weather the storm, so can I.
I say we find out what's got him thinking he's a mammoth.
But he is a mammoth. How can you not? Oh, never mind.
I'm sure he didn't mean what he said about his Papa Hildy, which means he thinks I'm his mama. Just so we're clear, you do agree it's a mammoth, right? You don't honestly believe that, you know...
Hildibrand knows in his heart that love transcends dimensions of time and space, definitions of man and machine.
Of course, a fatherhood never did run smooth, but I, Hildibrand, guardian of Gigi, doting parent extraordinaire, shall find a way to overcome this trial and be reconciled with my beloved son.
That's the spirit. Solving a simple case of childhood rebellion should be easy for a man who's unmasked thieves, defeated duelists, and led armies of the undead. Yes, that's all there... Wait, what was that about the undead? Actually, don't tell me. For now, all that matters is finding that mammoth. We should begin by speaking with the sentry stationed at the city gates of the airship landing. If Fury help us, he has left Ishgard, we need to know about it sooner rather than later. I will visit the Ark of the Worthy, while the inspector and his assistant head to the airship landing. You can question the guard at the gate near the manufactory, after which we will regroup there and share our findings. Dismissed?
Well, look at you taking charge, Seer.
To the manufactory!
Little fellow with a wide-brimmed hat? Ah, he came through here. Bought passage on a supply ship bound for Falcon's Nest. One of them, what's his name, law affairs, right? Funny little buggers. Seem keen to be anywhere but here.
Well, if Gigi left the city, it was not by the main gates. And the sentries at the airship landing have seen no one matching his description.
Falcon's Nest, Fury take me. Oh, must we return to that freezing pit of despair?
Wheresoever Gigi goes, I will follow him and find him and embrace him as my son once more. However, I surmise that our final destination lies far beyond the walls of said outpost. Indeed, there is but one reason he will return to those frozen wastes. To frolic in the snow and cast his worries to the wind!
Really? He seemed in no mood to frolic when last I saw him. As I recall, he used his arcane powers to mend a vase, only to become morose and belligerent when it became clear to him that he was, in fact, a mammoth. One might even say he remembered what he was, remembered his purpose. And so he returned to Western Cathars, that famous breeding ground for heresy where we first found him. Come to his heretic masters to share with them the intelligence he had gathered on the city. At long last, the undeniable, the unquestionable, the unmistakable scent of heresy. What are we standing around for? We have a heretic to catch. Inspector, I'm starting to think that Inquisitor Seer might not think very highly of our little girl.
It is possible, but I would not presume to know his feelings ere he voiced them explicitly. He has! Hildibrand, for God's sake! Until such time as he does, we should endeavor to surreptitiously bring him around to the opinion that Gigi is a boy of pure heart and good intent. Subtlety in all things, Nashu. That is the Mandoil way.
I want to punch you so badly, Hildibrand.
Subtlety in all things!
Aw, even a fruit footprints are adorable. They look almost like they were made by one of those clockwork minions.
I would know those tiny footprints anywhere. Gigi came this way.
Aha! I knew it. The mammoth immediately left the outpost and looks to have headed north along the river. By the Fury, I cannot wait to finally catch him in the company of heretics. I don't much like your tone, Inquisitor. If our baby girl ran afoul of any heretics, she'd look them square in the eye and tell them she doesn't want any. Hey, Inspector, I think I just had one of those moments of insight. Maybe Gigi came out here to find Lord Godbird. I did tell her grandpapa might like to see that trick of hers.
Brilliant deduction, Narsho. He must be eager to meet his grandparents.
The self-same ones he renounced when he declared you were not his father.
What a fine young gentleman, eager to explore his heritage. Let us make haste, my friends, for a reunion of 3 generations of Mandervilles Beggins.
I really can't be bothered.
What? The mammoth lies motionless in the snow, fragments of ice stuck to its cap, suggesting the impact of something small and round traveling at high speed.
My head, who? Oh, it's you. You followed me.
Oh, Gigi, if you wanted to have a snowball fight with your grandparents, you should have said so earlier. Oh, Papa Hildy was very worried, though he's glad to see that you are unharmed.
It would seem it was struck by a snowball, much like these Steinbocks. These dead Steinbocks.
Are you sure he isn't damaged? As if a mere blow to the head could fell our Gigi. We Mandervilles are made of sterner stuff. I myself have been driven headfirst into the earth on no fewer than 24 occasions, several times from mountains above, and my mind is no less brilliant for the experience.
I expect the Earth was no less brilliant for the experience. Why are you not? Oh, he's behind me, isn't he?
Well, good fortune to cross paths with you lot so far from civilization. Forgive me for not taking notice earlier. I was engrossed in a duel with my Julian. But how rude of me. Would you care to join us?
Grandpapa got bird. Grandpapa got bird. Mama Nashute says you wield the powers of life and death. I beg of you, Grandpa Godbird, grant me life, make me a real boy.
You sure about this, son? It may sting a little.
I will endure whatever I must to become a real boy.
He's getting it. He's getting it.
Then let us begin.
This body, it's everything I've ever wanted. It's perfect. Thank you, Grandpapa Godbird. Thank you.
Aw, Godbird giving gender-affirming surgery right out there in the open.
No, but I've not even begun to begin. Birgit, guide my hammer.
Holy shit! He has his own limit break. Oh no. Oh no.
Hildy, I'm man, Duville, man.
Gigi, my son, come to your father. Let me have a look at you.
Papa, Hildy.
Gigi. Three, two. Something's gonna happen. That's not a hug he's gearing up for there, Hildibrand. Clothesline! Gigi from the outside with a steel chair! This is just Mandeville affection. It really is. Mandeville's only bond in wrestling moves. Now that brings back some memories.
Hildy, oh dear, who could have done such a thing? By the Fury. It's just like the vase all over again, miraculously restored to its original form. Gigi, my boy, upon further consideration, I believe that this body may suit you best. It is, how shall I put this, more manageable. And much more adorable. But how can I ever be accepted as your son if I remain a mammoth? Is that what's been troubling you all this time? But why didn't you say so? A Mandeville is more than mere flesh and bone. He is vigor, compassion, and honor, a gentleman for all seasons. Be you man or machine, it makes no difference. If they call you a mammoth, you look them in the eye and say, nay, I am a Mandeville mammoth. Mother, Father, forgive me for not consulting with you earlier, but circumstances forced my hand. I have formally adopted Gigi as my son and ward of the House Mandeville.
You guts! I knew you was fond of the mammoth, but you hear that, woman? Our son's gone and got himself a son!
Grandpapa got Bert, Grandpapa got Bert.
It all makes sense now. Grandpapa Gutbert and Grandmama Julian. We've been waiting years to hear those words. Grandpapa Cuthbert, Grandmama Julian.
Few things in life are grander than becoming a grandparent, as they say. What's so bloody grand about it? I'll not be made a grandmother by a bloody buggering mammoth. It's past time I beat some sense into my beloved boy. Fly, take me. I'd heard tales of the Dark Knights before, but no, it couldn't be. No, I think it was something far worse. Heretical, like as not. But rules be damned, I'm not risking my life to find out.
She'll get over it.
They're mad. Utterly mad. The whole damn lot of them. How their house could rise to such prominence, I'll never understand. Well, at least the mammoth seems to have overcome its existential crisis. Before today, I didn't even know a mammoth could have an existential crisis. Wait, what am I saying? It's a mammoth! Why should I care what it claims to think or feel? Oh, fury take me. Their idiocy is infectious. I mustn't allow myself to fall prey to it. Follow procedure. Report to your superior. One step at a time. One step at a time.
Local cop discovers empathy and does not like it. Who are these Organization 13 looking assholes?
Right then. My superiors, having been informed of the mammoth's adoption by House Mandeville, as witnessed by House Fortom, proceeded to take me to task for my gross mishandling of the situation. They remain convinced that the mammoth is the product of heretical machinations and have commanded me to redouble my efforts to prove this incontrovertible fact. That may prove problematic, however, as Judy seems to have forsaken his quest to recover his memories and thrown himself wholly into his new life as a Mandeville mammoth, casting about for any hint of a case alongside his doting father. In any event, though I do not share my superior's conviction, I think it's safe to say there's something exceedingly unusual about that mammoth. You saw with your own eyes how effortlessly it restored that vase and itself to its original form. Reconstructive magics are not particularly rare, but his are unlike any I've ever seen before.
Oh, poor boy. Edmund is brought into it now again, too. And the fucking vase. Yeah, sure. I do have a lot of fondness. A lot of fondness for this dumbass. Oh, Lord. Anyway, this is probably a good place to end the episode. So, before we do, let's have a look at some glams. Let's see. Yasunte, are you here somewhere? Ah, there you are. Could you stand still? Thank you. Ooh. Oh, hello. Oh, that's interesting. So that's like a classic, like with the shoulder cape. I think that's like sort of a classic gentleman detective sort of outfit going on. I do like that you've kept it like with a really sort of flat neutral brown, because like that sort of gives it like that, like, because you could definitely do more extravagant colors with something like this, but like keeping it all down in the brown. First of all, it evokes Sherlock Holmes to a certain extent. Like his most iconic incarnations are defined by like rough textures and earth colors, a little bit of plaid is sort of like, that's the original Sherlock Holmes vibe. But it does work quite well with an outfit because it makes it look like when you use the earth tones, like the sort of neutral, sort of down to earth base colors, like grays, browns, like various forms of like bluish blacks and stuff like that, you do get more of a sense of like, okay, this is practical, right? Like it does get that vibe, even if it is, as all Final Fantasy outfits have a tendency to be, quite elaborate once you get into the details of it. Because of the color scheme, it stays looking as though it's quite practical, looking as though this is like something you would wear if you're running around the city chasing down a lead kind of vibe, that kind of thing. And the hat is a really good choice for it as well, because the bird feathers, like the little sort of elaborate feathers, when you think of it in terms of like, if you encountered this as a character in a detective story, you'd go, oh, okay, like the bird feathers are like a little, all this practicality, but then the bird feathers give it that eccentricity, right? Like that's, oh, this is like, there's something about this character that's a little bit like they decorate themselves in an unusual way kind of vibe. And I think that works really well. And it also, like, it doesn't hurt that you that you're a dragon person underneath. And that's another advantage, of course, of like taking the earth tones, because they tend to be very neutral, because they tend to not, like, they're not loud, they're not very aggressive relative to anything else. You can kind of pair them with outlandish things like sort of like bluish black skin, and dragon tails and stuff, and it's not like a big clash. It's not like these two fantastical elements that are sort of fighting each other. It all works together really cohesively. I like that. Like, I really like that you kept the color scheme so simple, like white, brown, and then like your character's natural grays. That really does a lot for it. Like, it's not something that you sort of look at and go, whoa! Like, it doesn't jump out at you, but it's just really nicely put together when you see it. Okay, there was someone else in-game. Male Duthari. Male. Aha! Ooh, hello. Going for an evil paladin, anti-paladin with an Oni theme. Yeah, no, you're definitely getting the evil, and you're definitely getting the Oni. I guess in terms of being a paladin, the sword and shield would be the thing that signifies that in a Final Fantasy context. Because other than that, like, I wouldn't say, if I were to view this from outside of the Final Fantasy context, I wouldn't know that this is a paladin based just on looking at it. Because, like, paladin has some very specific connotations with, like the sort of Christian Western fantasy aesthetics kind of vibe, like holy warrior sort of thing. So I guess in the Final Fantasy context, the weapons kind of give that away, but I wouldn't say that necessarily works. But like the sort of evil Oni-themed influence warrior thing, absolutely. Like the claws on the gloves are such a great detail for, because like claw hands, really good shorthand for someone who likes to hurt people with their touch kind of vibe, right? Like that's a good shorthand for someone who like deals damage or causes pain for a living. And like, I really like the shield, especially because like the shield has that, like with the devil face and like all these ornamental decorations on it. It really is a little bit extra in that way of like, this is someone who's not just like a bad guy, but someone who's ostentatiously a bad guy kind of vibe. Black and red, obviously always a good pick for an evil character. Like if you want a character to look evil, black and red is like the go-to for that. Black and red, or like maybe a sort of green or purple, they tend to be very good for like doing evil vibe characters. But green only when paired with black, not green if you get earth tones next to it. The Garlean color scheme. Yeah, exactly. Like Final Fantasy XIV is in many ways aesthetically kind of a basic game. You look at the Empire and it's like, oh no, yeah, evil. the bad guys. Like, obviously, the moment you see them, you're like, yeah, no, they are the bad guys. Plain and simple. But yeah, like, it's also funny, because, like, the rest of the outfit sort of says, okay, Eastern inspired, so, like, samurai, Chinese warrior, that sort of thing. But, of course, the sword and shield combo is much more of a sort of, like, Western fantasy thing. That's more Link, right? Like, that's more, sort of European-inspired fantasy thing. So I like there's an interesting contrast there, in that so much of this looks like it's supposed to be, like, demon samurai kind of vibe. And then the weapon sort of, like, mismatches with that in a way that I think is interesting. But yeah, no, like, with the white hair and the color scheme and the mask, it's basically perfect. Like the Oni inspiration comes through so well in the decorations on the various pieces of gear that you have. And again, I really do love the detail of, like, having the... I guess that just came with the armor set. I don't know exactly where you got those sharp fingers from, but the sharp fingers are perfect for it. Like, absolutely perfect for it. Oh, cannibal! That rules. Oh, that's great. You can actually get a cannibal? Fuck yeah. That also works. That also works really well. Yeah, that rules. I do miss the white hair a little bit. I guess that came from your headgear. But no, that definitely works. But the white hair especially, because that's associated with Oni, right? Like that sort of associates with Oni, with yeah, exactly. With those things as they relate in Japanese pop culture, like white hair is associated with them. So that's a really good detail to bring on there, which I guess comes with a mask for that reason. Okay, let's see. Navera Luthani, are you here? Yes, you are, right in front of my face. Oh, hello. Oh, I like those gems a lot. Which I'm currently crafting IRL for cosplay. Holy shit, really? You're making a cosplay out of that real... Holy shit. I mean, you've got your work cut out for you, but... that's gonna look great when you're done. Okay. I really like the gems, like, because, like, most of the outfit here, it's fairly neutral, right? Like, it's like you have this sort of dark teal bluish thing as the base color, then you have the white for the accents, and then, like, with the gems sort of lighting up, giving that little sparkle, that really sort of makes it pop. Like, that's like snow crystals in the sky on, like, an overcast day kind of vibe. It looks very ice themed, like, just from the color scheme and, like, with all the little crystals on it. And that's... I like that. I like the pants that you've combined with it, like the bell bottoms. And again, I don't know if that comes with whatever the outfit is, but that's a really nice choice with it. You could maybe do something with the boots. Like, if you wanted... I don't know what you have available for boot options, but if you had, like, a boot that shared a little bit of that, like, ice crystal gem theme something instead of the buckle on top, maybe that would sort of do something. But again, the boots aren't really important to the outfit, I don't think. It's just a little thing I noticed. But no, the pants are really good. I like the bell bottoms. Like, that has such a modern feeling in a way. Like, because, like, when I look at bell bottoms, I associate with, like, the 70s or that brief period in the 90s when they came back. I used to have a pair of those. They look terrible on me. Like, that's usually what I associate it with. And that sort of gives it a modern feeling, which also comes through a little bit like the shirt with the sleeves rolled up. There's, like, a good mix of, like, something that looks sort of fantasy medieval-esque and then a modern vibe. Like, with the half skirt on the one side. It's like, yeah, that looks like fucking fashion, man. I like that. And again, good combination with, like, the natural skin color of your character. Like, with the white hair and, like, the dark skin. That flows really nicely into the outfit. That's quite cool. But no, yeah, like the gems. Literally the highlight. Like, you can, when you walk away from it, you can literally see how the gems kind of like, oh, like they sort of twinkle in a way that draws the eye in a really nice way. I like that. That's really cool. Okay, so a Fembro Rogadin. Oh, that's clever. Like with the green skin, because Ganondorf has kind of ashy green skin in Ocarina of Time. So that's like one of the features that's associated with him. That is really well done. Like, you have the perfect outfit for it. Like, you genuinely kind of have the absolute perfect outfit for it. I think Ganondorf in Tears of the Kingdom had a little bit more red in his outfit, if I remember right. It's kind of hard to tell because Tears of the Kingdom has a weird lighting system. But he was like a little bit more earth-toned, a little bit more brown and red in it. But then with the green skin tone, maybe doing black and white kind of makes sense there. Because, like, throwing too much red on there would maybe mess with it. But, like, that's really fucking good. That's a really fucking good Ganondorf cosplay. Oh, that's really cool. That is genuinely very, very cool. Eidolon! Oh, Haley. You threw a Hrothgal in there, did you? Ah, so we're dealing with mods here, because otherwise you don't get Hrothgals. I will say the very high contrast does make it hard to see the details of the outfit, but I guess that's kind of the point, that they're sort of like a shadow. I like the teeth and the eyes, the glow is very good. Like when you have a character who's so dark and like so much like a shadow, that little glow, adding like little things that sort of light up in the dark there, that really works. You could also do that by having like the whatever that strap is that goes over the hip. If that was like a bright shining white and there was like a bright white bracelet or a necklace or anything, that would again like much in the same way that the leg bands here do for the legs, right? That sort of creates structure. Because like when you have characters that are very dark, that are like very shadowy, right? One of the things you can do is you can use something that has a bright contrast or a bright color to sort of shape the character, right? Like, so if you wanted, for example, to accentuate like the hip, or if you wanted to accentuate like the curvature of the back of the neck or things like that, like adding a little something bright that sort of follows the curvature of the body, you can sort of control exactly how much you show. And that's in terms of like, if you want to make the character like intimidating or scary, do something that emphasizes their muscularity, their physical power. If you want to make them sexy, do something that emphasizes the sexy bits. Like you can play with people's perception of the character a lot in that way. It looks great though. Like, I really do appreciate, like, the strong arms. Like, that there's, like, a real sense of, like, built physicality to her. Because I think it's like, sort of like, you kind of have to have that with a Femfroth, right? But that's the thing of, like we've talked about this in relationship to Final Fantasy proper many times, is the tendency, like, if anything is feminine, then it just becomes skinny. And there's like, yeah, no, feminine means skinny, like drawing that very explicit comparison, which is quite annoying. That also exists like just in anime and in culture in general, that like that which is feminine is not allowed to be swole, which is dumb and weird. Like, which is why I'm quite glad that rows exist in this game at all. Yoshi P wants to know your location. But no, that looks really cool. Like, I kind of wish I could see more of the outfit. But that's sort of that's the trade-off you make when the character is so dark and shadowy, is that the outfit sort of becomes unavailable to us. But no, yeah, like anything you can do that's sort of like here, for example, something that that followed the curvature of the back here would like, you could really play with how the character is perceived or seen if you did something like that. Because you can see how the edge lighting does that in these images, right? Like where you are very intentionally using the edge lighting to sort of highlight. You could incorporate that into the character design. But I do like the idea of a character who's like fully a shadow, like where you kind of can't get a look at them. Yeah, that's really cool. You can do so much fucking shit with mods. I set up a room for people to share like the not safe for work mods that they do with their Final Fantasy 14 characters, and boy, I did not expect people to be able to do that much. From Eidolon, okay. Trying to make a cliche Bloodborne hunter vibe, okay. Side note, Ishgard at about 9 p.m. when it's cloudy makes a good Yharnam XP. Oh, it does. The lantern on the hip is excellent. Again, kind of wish the images were a little brighter so I could see the character better. Because it's a little hard to make them out here. Ah, okay, yeah. Right, yeah, I mean, if you're going for the Bloodborne vibe, you definitely got it. Like, the Scythe is maybe a little bit stereotypical for the Bloodborne, because, like, the Scythe is, like, that's only really Gehrman who has that. If you wanted to, you might go with something like, I mean, the iconic Bloodborne weapon, of course, is the saw blade thing, like the ragged edge. You could go with like a cane sword sort of thing, depending on what you're going for. But if you're looking specifically to do a Gehrman cosplay thing, you've definitely got it there. If you use mods, do not include your character name anywhere. Yeah, there's that. Or the pizza cutter. Yeah, like Bloodborne is like it. When I think of an iconic Bloodborne weapon, I don't really think of and this is just me, obviously, but I don't really think of Gehrman's scythe, right? Like, I think more of the whip sword or the whip cane. I think more of, I mean, I used the Beast Hunter scythe for a long time in the game. And I think of the pistol. Like, I think maybe a machinist might actually be an equally good fit for a Bloodborne hunter in terms of like classes to use. I think you've made some good choices in terms of like having the very straight, very simple pants is a good choice. I think that's better than giving them a skirt or anything like that, because like that is more Bloodborne to like someone who's dressed in like pants and a waistcoat and kind of thing, and then like a ragged coat over top of that. That is definitely very Bloodborne. The other very Bloodborne thing would be to have a hat of some kind. Like that's also something that's sort of that sits a lot with the Bloodborne vibe. But I think you've got it. Like having any coat that's like sufficiently ragged, and like the earth tones, like the browns, the grays, those sort of very washed out colors, that all sort of sells that Yharnam gaslight Victorian thing. But I think the really good detail is the lantern on the hip. The lantern on the hip is the one that really does it, I think. Like, that's the one that really sells the idea this is someone who tracks through, like, dark places. But it also has that Victorian vibe to it, right? Like it's a gaslight lantern sort of thing. It's obviously not a gaslight lantern, but you know what I mean. Hello. Now, you gave no details on what the outfit is supposed to be. But, ooh, okay. There's some good color choices going on here. So, like, you have your character with, like, an aura with, like, the bone white scales and, like, the white hair, sort of very bright, and, like, the contrast against that with the very dark outfit, like, sort of bluish black, is a good choice, and then the red against that is good as well. Like, that pops. Like, that goes. You can definitely catch that. You could probably heighten it a little bit if you had... And I don't know how much of that is possible. Like, imagine if the inside of the coat was colored red, for example. Like, that might do something. If you were wearing, like, leggings underneath... I don't know, like, in terms of how married you are to the bare thigh, but if you wanted... If it was possible, having, like, red tights underneath that, just to have a little bit of red down there, like, that would all sort of... That would pop it a little bit more, because, like, I really like the accenting of the reds. And I think it could pop if you had slightly another red thing from the waist down somewhere, because it sort of stops here, right? So any, like, little more red thing to sort of continue that down would maybe be cool, but like that it's just a basic good character design. I say basic not as a negative, but as a positive. It's just basically a good character design. Yeah, that's really strong. Like, I like the boots. Like, I like that the boots have all of that, like, the straps around it, like, that do the gold accenting. Because, again, if they hadn't had that, that would probably have left the top half too interesting and the lower half too boring. But, like, the gold here does a good job of sort of bringing that visual interest up. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that just looks good. Like, I don't have that much to say about it, really. That just looks good. Like, I like that with a very bright character and then the very dark outfit. That's again a basic thing, but such a good thing to do. Like, contrast. If you can introduce a strong contrast into a character design, that creates visual interest just sort of automatically. Let's see. Morgan's... I need to put the thing back on so I can see who we've got. Morgan. Aha! Oh, that is the reddest of red mages. Oh, it's red with extra red on top and red in the orange in the magic accent. Okay. I mean, classic red mage hat. I do like the shirt being... Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, this is about as classic as a red mage glam gets. Oh, that's cool. Hang on. Can I... Brick. Sit. That. I like that. I like the red sigil on the boots. Because, like, again, if there had been nothing else going on down here except that it just becomes a black outfit from the waist down, more or less, or from the thighs down, that might be a little boring. But, like, that little thing of the little blood red sigils on the low part of the boots. Oh, that works. Yeah, I like that. Again, this is something like this. It's hard to say much about it because it's like, what does a red mage look like? Exactly fucking this. Like when I imagine it in my head. Oh, red earrings. Like with the little red feathers. Oh, that's good. Nice detail. It's a nice detail to include. And good choice of weapons as well. Dang, looks almost molten. That's really cool. Yeah, that's as classic as a red mage gets, man. Because I think the temptation when you're doing a red mage is to just do red all the way up and down. I do like that it is a thing of like the coat is red, but then the boots are dominated by a black color instead. Because that's again that's the difference between a red mage and a white mage is like red and white is white mage, and red and black tends to be a red mage more. Red and orange occasionally, but red and black is a good combination there. I like the scar over the eye. That's good. But it made me think of like what the color combinations are for each of the Final Fantasy classes. Because when you go back and look, like historically in Final Fantasy, like they have these very strong color associations. Like you have the red mage, white mage, black mage, blue mage. Like they have obvious color associations, sort of, except black mages are not actually associated with black. They're associated with yellow and blue. And white mages are associated much more with the red than with the white part of their outfit, actually. Like, because any white robe in Final Fantasy does not make a white mage, but white robe with red accents, now you've got a red mage, right? So it's that thing about, like, thinking about which color is most associated with a character, and it's not always the obvious one. Anyway, let's see. Nala Cosmia.
Are you here?
Oh, yeah, right there. A paladin glam. Oh, really? That's a paladin? I couldn't tell. I mean, with the weapons, especially. Like, yeah, speaking of classic red mages, talk about a classic paladin. Like, with the bright white and the gold. That is about as classic gets. But yeah, choosing, like, the brightly colored glowing weapons, is a good choice for a paladin because they're associated with all like, oh yeah, calling down the holy might of heaven, that sort of thing. Especially in a Final Fantasy context, the sword especially is important to paladins. Because like, and that's Final Fantasy history way back in Final Fantasy IV, how the paladin class is first introduced is in Final Fantasy IV is specifically with a sword. Like the sword is the symbol of the paladin. So having a glowing, really fancy sword for a paladin is a good idea. Comes with a shield, I imagine. Okay. I don't know that I fully dig the glowing red accent on the boots. I think that's probably something you can't really do anything about or change with the thing. I think that glowing red maybe derails a little bit because it introduces a color that doesn't exist anywhere else in your design except in the hair, and that's a little bit yeah. I think the shape language of the like the boot or the pants that you're wearing is really good with it. It's just that one introduction of an extra color that's sort of at a mismatch with the rest of it. But I really like, yeah, like, that's a really cool armor set. And if you're going for a paladin, it's a great armor set to have, because like that full plate armor, like with the chest plate, with the shoulder pauldrons, like the thing, that is very paladin. I like the armored skirt as well. That's quite good. Like that introduces a little bit of femininity into the character that I like. Which obviously the chest plate is also going out of this way to do the hourglass shape, by shaping itself in that way across the torso. But I like the skirt being there, like that little touch of femininity to the character. That's quite nice. Depends how you want to present their gender, obviously. But yeah, no, like the weapons are the showpiece here, clearly, and they're a really good choice. Like anything that's bright and glowing and looks very sort of fancy, anything that has that Excalibur vibe, that magic sword vibe, that's generally a good choice for a paladin. Like if I had a criticism, it would probably be that the clockwork is the only thing that sort of doesn't immediately match paladin vibes. You could bring that in to the rest of the outfit. Like you could do something with clockwork by like, I don't know what you can find in terms of stuff that's like fully armored, but if you could find anything that had like pouches or tools or mechanical bits or bobs, you could kind of bring that in and like have a clockwork paladin sort of thing going on if that's what you wanted to do. But I think like the fact that they're glowing is enough. It's the glow that's the important bit, is that they need to look holy and magical. Oh, call me out, would you, underdog keep? TV Sky will spend years talking about how people dress in some MMORPG just not play Disco Elysium. Come on, leave me alone. Called out so accurately. How mean. But yeah, let's call that the end of this particular episode. Our boy Hildibrand is back. I am very happy to see him. And let's see what his continued adventures get up to. And if you're on Twitch, you're going to get that right now. But if you're not, oh, too bad, so sad. Oh, hang on. I've forgotten to change this thing. You're going to have to come back for the next episode. As I change the end card to the... Aha! There's the correct one. Which you can find over on the YouTube channel by subscribing or commenting or doing the other things. You can become a member there and see these episodes early before everyone else. Or you can head on over to the Twitch and you can subscribe to the Twitch. And then you'll get access to the VODs from all the streams. And then you see all of it. Except if it's more than 60 days old, then Twitch deletes it. So that's all. Whether you can do that, it's up to you. But thank you very much for watching. Remember to be kind to one another, have solidarity with those who are worse off than yourselves, and may the tides of history wash gently over us all.